Women's History Month is being celebrated in the United States. It had its origins with Jimmy Carter back in 1981. It was a week. Then in 1987, it became a month. Pretty soon it'll be the whole year, right?
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Deservedly. During History Month, we celebrate the countless women whose courage and resolve have contributed to the character and success of our nation and certainly our village, and we appreciate that. We remember all of the women, past and present, who have inspired and empowered today's women to advocate for their beliefs and pursue their dreams without hesitation. I too have fond memories of all the 4 honorees. I congratulate you all. Pat Brown worked as a social worker at Hempstead High School when I was there. She was very passionate. She, in fact, is the only social worker I know who needs a social worker. Barbara Powell's family is famous in the village of Hempstead. Dad was a great musician. Of course, mother's the inspiration of many, including her daughter. And Electra Nicholson, when she went to Hempstead High School, for 4 years I was a teacher, she never wore the same outfit. I don't know where you put, I don't know where, Lisa, you put all of the clothes. But obviously, she is a marvel. And of course, we're very proud to have too as the associate director. I got the title correct. Good, Claudia Boyle at the Hispanic Counseling Center in Hempstead. Appreciate all the good things you can do. So before the other trustees come up, just have one question, more of a joke than a question. What do you call a woman who works as hard as a man? Lazy.
Reaching success, you see that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say that these women that's climbing, that's doing great things, they don't step on other women, they lift other women up.
Amen.
They all are role models. They're role models to the men also, by the way they live their lives. I know most of them very well. I'm going to start with the first person. Patricia Brown was my teacher, my acting teacher in high school. Barbara Powell, I've known her for quite some time. She's a good person. She works very hard. She believes in Hempstead, and she is following in the footsteps of her mother. Electra Nicholson, there's many good things I could say about her. I'm going to say a few good things. She's also a role model for many people, young and old. And since I'm saying something about her, even though her sister's not here, I gotta acknowledge her sister. I have to acknowledge her sister, who's now, I have to call her Dr. Dukes now.
Okay.
And also, this woman wouldn't be here without another woman, so I had to acknowledge her mother. Her mother, Lisa, who's probably the proudest person in Hempstead right now. She has one daughter being honored now, and she had another daughter that just became a doctor. You can't beat that. And the last person, I just met her, but she said we're family already. I said I'll make believe I'm your first cousin.
From my mother's side.
On your mother's side, we already made that agreement, so I'm going to sit down. Enjoy your evening.
Now, I am not going to belabor the point, but congratulations for putting this together. I think we need to do much more of this, whether it be for the women that we're here today for, but just for Hempstead in general. So, in Don's words, hip hip.
Village of Hempstead for this honor. In Proverbs 29:18 it says, "Where there is no vision, people will perish." Vision is something to truly cherish. I would like to first congratulate all the women that have amassed their vision and come into submission. For your vision is a gift from the Lord to share abroad. Again, I salute you, phenomenal ladies, today. As a child, I was taught to say, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." When in fact, I learned early on that words can and will inflict pain that may not leave you the same. Bruises will heal in men, but words will leave in your heart and will not depart. Words are power when used to devour the negative ways of this place to uplift our human race. Words empower you, push you, guide you, strengthen you, encourage you, and convey love and hope, and at times make us feel pretty dope. Can break a generational curse and push us through the worst. Bridge a divide, place despair aside, all the while making society abide, not by what you see, but speaking in existence what is to be. Words are power. So the spoken word must be heard. So I thank God for this vision of using words to stop division. I thank God for this talent and the gift to wipe out stereotypical myths. I thank God for these words from my heart, because visionary women, we must continue to do our part. So I thank you ladies as well.
I'd like to first thank God. I'd like to thank my family, my church, my community, my mayor, and my former student, Lamont, Mr. Daniels, my lady here. I love this lady here. This is one of the hardest working ladies in Hempstead, Juanita. One of the hardest working. She doesn't get the recognition that she should get. She works very, very, very hard. When I first started working in Hempstead in 1986, I don't know if you were there then, but shortly after, I started used to bug her for things, and she would always come through for me when I was short on whatever was needed, turkey clothes, toys, whatever. She always encouraged me, she always supported me, supported my efforts. And I really want to give a little shout out to my daughter and my grandkids. I believe they're here. My daughter here? There's my daughter, my new grandbaby. I have 3 grandkids, twin boys. I love them. They provide, they give me the incentive to keep going. 5 years ago, my grandsons were born prematurely. They only weighed a pound and something. One spent 7 months in the hospital and was straight for 2 years. The other one spent 4 months in the hospital. And look at them now. Where are my grandsons? Where are they? Caden and Dylan. Come here, Caden and Dylan. I want everybody to see God, my miracle grandbabies. They're my miracle grandbabies. They survive. They survive. They provide every day. I get up, and this is what they keep me going. These kids keep me going every day because of the hope and the love and support and everything from Winthrop. Dr. Allen stayed with me every day. I had just had a heart attack. Dr. Allen came and stayed with me at the hospital. She got up and came to my house at 6, my daughter's house at 6 o'clock every morning. Amen. While my grandson here, they had nurses round the clock. My grandson for 2 years, Dr. Allen was right there. Who gets up after they retired and comes from Amityville to Roosevelt and takes care of someone else's grandkids? And Dr. Allen, I salute you. And all of this inspires me. And I grew up with the motto from my mother, one person can make a difference. Yes. And that always, always, always help somebody. Amen. Always help somebody. And that's the motto that I grew up in. My family of 10. My father, at age 14, I lost my dad, and there was 10 of us. The baby was 2. My father was 38. My mother was 38 with 10 kids. The baby was 2. The oldest was 21. So I had a tough time in high school after the loss of my dad from kidney failure. Subsequently, I suffered the same thing. My sister Gwen gave me a kidney in 2001 when I worked at Hempstead High School. They told me it would last maybe perhaps 10 years. 18 years, and I have this kidney. I have everything in the world to be thankful for, everything in the world to fight for. I get up every day. I love this community. I will, till the day I die, work in this community, help everyone I can in this community, because life is good, and you always have to help somebody, and one person can make a difference in your life. I love you all. I love this lady. She gave me an award last year. Dr. Allen, get up here. Get up here. This is my daughter. This is my new grandbaby. It's my new grandbaby. This is my daughter. This is my daughter, Sanier.
She worried me to death the whole time she was in Hempstead High School. She worried me. I think I would get away from her. So that's why I'm giving her this now so she can leave me.
I love you, Mr. Boo. And she supported me for everything.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry.
Good evening.
I'm extremely honored to be receiving such an important award, and I'm honored to be called a visionary woman. I'm extremely grateful for the recognition I've received for my work and dedication to the community. My service would have not been possible without the inspiration that I received from my beloved mother, Barbara Varese Powell, Sr. Also, my other family members, my brother, my sister, my wonderful daughter, my Travis Ray, Tarina, all of you. I'm not going to forget you, Dejeni and Yolanda from the Coalition of 100 Black Women. I sincerely thank each one of you for helping me reach a stage where I can proudly say that I accept this award as a mark of my achievement. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Good.
Well, thank you for being here. I want to start by thanking Mayor Ryan for having me, and the trustees, of course, and Juanita for having me here. So thank you so much. I am both humbled and excited to be here and to be a part of this wonderful event. Today we celebrate visionary women. Women who, in one way or another, have made a difference in the life of others, in part because of their drive and dedication, but mostly as a result of their vision, their ability to think about or plan for the future with imagination and wisdom. At first, when the mayor's office contacted me to deliver the speech, I was a bit surprised, to be honest with you. And she mentioned that she wanted me to speak about visionary women. My first thought was, huh? Visionary? Me? Why? The only thing I can say is thank you. I never thought of myself as a visionary until today. I just thought I was doing what I was born to do. So let me tell you a little bit about myself, so you know, because a lot of you don't know who I am, a lot of you don't know where I come from. So I promise you I won't bore you, you know, an hour 15 at the most, tops. No, I'm just kidding, it's just 5 minutes. And then you can decide, you know, what you think. If I were to call what I have a vision, I would say that it started at a very young age. When talking about me, I always go back to the two most important places in my life. My home, where I grew up with my dad, my wonderful dad, my mom, my nana, and my 4 big annoying brothers, which I love. And also my school, Marymount School, Barranquilla, in Colombia, my second home, where I grew up with my teachers, my counselors, and my classmates. Just as a side note, I'm not sure if you all are aware of the Colombian culture or the Latino culture. We don't go to different schools. We just go to one school from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. We have the same classmates, we have the same teachers, we have the same principals. So it's the same people for 13 years, 14 years. So it's a great community. That's why I always called it my second home. There's no changing buildings either. So just one big school. I have always considered myself a very fortunate woman, always. In great part for growing up where I did, as part of the family that I grew up, and going to school where I did. I was fortunate to have my dad, a self-made man, a visionary, in my opinion, himself. He grew up in a small town, and his parents, my grandparents, did not have the means for him to go to school. So when he graduated high school, he started working and went full-time and became a doctor, a medical doctor, and then went on to being a gastroenterologist. He was the first gastroenterologist in Barranquilla, in my hometown. And he was one of the mentors and one of the founders of the first public hospital in Barranquilla, because they didn't have that before. And he was also the founding member for 3 different medical associations. So it's him I think about when you talk about vision. Because he came back from Philadelphia after doing his specialty, and he said, you know what, things have to change. And he just went ahead and did what needed to be done to change. He also had a private practice as a medical doctor, and every Wednesday, I'll never forget it, it was uninsured day, that's what he called it. The people who did not have any money, did not have any insurance, who could not be seen anywhere else, he would treat them in his office. And a lot of times he wouldn't get paid. Or if he got paid in, you know, limones and in fruit, or he got paid in chickens or avocados, whatever it is that the people had that went to his office. And he accepted it and he brought it home. I remember one of his patients always paid him with plantains. We always had plantains in my house, like every week. It was like a plantation in my house. So it was great. I mean, he showed me what it was to give, and he showed me who I wanted to be when I grew up. I was also very, very fortunate. And he often told me that was one of the favorite parts of his life, doing that and being my dad. Those were the two favorite parts of his life. I was also very fortunate to have my mom. She was a homemaker. She did go to a couple of years of higher education, but he was a homemaker. She was dedicated. She was taking care of us, 4 rambunctious boys. They're still rambunctious. And me, that I was very shy. I didn't talk to anyone. Just like I am now. I'm not gregarious at all. Ask any of my friends. But she was such an inspiration to me. She was strong. She was driven. She was tenacious. We lost our oldest brother, my oldest brother, when he was only 14. And it was really hard for her to lose her firstborn. It was like the most difficult thing I think she's ever endured for 3 years, coming back and forth to New York for the Sloan Kettering, and it was it's difficult when he died, and I think I did see her cry, I did see her struggle, but she was always, the first 4 were like anything that needed to be done, she was there. It doesn't matter what it was, her kids were the most important thing to her, and she made sure that we knew that every day, regardless of what was going on with her. And it was, she took care of us and made sure that we knew that we were loved and that we were fortunate. Another part of my life that makes me feel very fortunate was to be able to, I went to Marymount School Barranquilla, was an all-girls Catholic school. So I learned values, I learned principles, I learned everything that I needed to learn there. And it turned me into the person that I am today, of course, along with my dad, my mom, and my brothers. So this is who I am today. I found what I loved at a very early age. Ever since I can remember, I found, like I told you, I'm gregarious, friendly. I've always liked to help people, always. I've always been the listener. I was always the one who my friends came to for help, the one that they share their thoughts and feelings with. In return, I was always the one that provided support and advice as best as I could, depending on the age. In return, I could since forever, and I believe that in my early teenage years is when I realized this is what I want to do. This is what I want to help people. I wasn't sure how. I wasn't sure where. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to help people. And that is what I'm doing today. And I think every step that I've taken is for that. I wanted to help others by being there for them, by listening, supporting them in their time of need. My mom called it my calling. And it shaped my vision of where I wanted to be, and most importantly, of who I wanted to be. I wasn't sure how at the time, but that changed a little bit later. So I started my bachelor's in psychology, because that's what I wanted. I want to help others. And then my last year, I said, you know what? I don't want to go to the same place that everybody does their internship. I want to do something else. So I asked my advisor, my dean, I said, can I go somewhere else? Can I do something else? He said, well, we have an agreement with the University of Miami in Jackson Memorial Hospital, but, we wouldn't be able to pay anything. I'm like, I don't care. I'll figure it out. And I came to the United States on a student visa and did my internship here at the University of Miami under the supervision of Dr. Shapoksnik in Florida at Jackson Memorial Hospital. And that's where I first, because, before I was counseling my brothers, counseling my friends, counseling these people, but where I was working with Latina girls for a whole year. And that's where I started to see where my vision was going to take me. I ended up in Florida, and then I completely fell in love with counseling. I got to help others in a foreign country, people who did not have anywhere else to go, kind of like my dad. And I felt so good about that, because of course it was a different situation. But I felt him in me every single time that I helped somebody, because these were girls that had nowhere else to go. They grew up in poverty, they grew up with, mothers that are not working.
Maria said something that struck with me. I do a summer feeding program. Some of you know and some of you don't know on Terrace Avenue. And when I tell you I get the most fulfillment out of that particular program, that population, well, you guys know they struggle a lot, but I get so much fulfillment in being able to